So what's going on, guys? My name's Violent with GRIZZ Zombies. Today we're going to be talking about the Call of Duty Zombies comic book and how it relates to Black Ops 3 storyline. We have to cover a little bit of Black Ops 2 storyline in order to understand this, but just to make sure everybody's on the same page, the comic book series is published by Dark Horse Comics, and the series is co-written by Justin Jordan, the game director Jason Blundell, and Treyarch's lead writer Craig Houston. Jason Blundell has now been promoted to co-studio head, where he'll oversee all of Zombies from here on out. So to kick things off, let's start with the description of each comic. So far we have 5 out of 6 comics. We will read them, but the order that you should be aware of how the zombie storyline goes: it's transit, which leads us to Die Rise, and then over to Buried, where we end up finally at Origins. Following Origins, we have the comic book, which alters our Black Ops 2 storyline into what we have leading into Black Ops 3. The path that we took in Revelations leading us to the ending where it ended is a certain path, a certain dimension that we follow, and that's where Shadows of Evil comes into existence. At this point in time, we can't confirm if what the transit crew's doing now in the comic will alter how things work in Shadows of Evil. It remains to be seen. But where we want to keep a level head is that our Black Ops 3 Richtofen has a summoning key which allows him to travel between dimensions, where he can help our new transit crew basically achieve a new goal of his, which we know is the Chronorium. It's just a matter of how we get there. Okay, so I got 6 synopses here for each comic, issue 1 through 5, and I'm going to read each one of them. So kick back, relax for just a second while I get through these, and then we'll talk about what we know. On his quest to secure an ancient artifact known as the Chronorium, Dr. Edward Richtofen enlists to help the transit crew, a ragtag group of survivors last seen in Black Ops 2 Zombies installment of Buried. On a deep, unstable, and fractured future Earth, Stuhlinger, Misty, Russman, and Marlton battle for survival against the undead horde, as they slowly uncover the truth behind Richtofen's mysterious reappearance. This issue is released on October 26th of 2016, and then we have issue number 2. On the hunt for Element 115, the transit crew winds up at the headquarters of Russman's old organization, Broken Arrow. I want to quickly note that the transit crew is not time traveling, they are simply teleporting. Richtofen is still in the MPD at this time, and Maxis is through technology, so keeping that in mind, the atmosphere itself is contaminated with Element 115, and that's how Richtofen can teleport them. So, while the transit crew's hunting for Element 115, they end up at the headquarters of Broken Arrow, trapped between a never-ending horde of zombies outside the lab-grown monstrosities inside. Stuhlinger, Misty, Marlton, and Russman learn that they'll have to work together if they want to make it out alive. And that was issued on January 11th of 2016. Moving on to issue number 3. When an AI security system tries to destroy the transit crew, Marlton must use his tech skills to outwit the digital defenses. Misty reminds him that he can't survive on his own. It's going to take more than a know-how and smarts to get everyone out alive. The group decides to take a chance on escaping the zombie-infested apocalyptic wasteland, not knowing if their desperate attempts will work or where it will take them. And that was issue number 3, released on March 1st of 2017. So we have issue number 4 now, where Marlton, Misty, Russman, and Stuhlinger think that they've found a moment of peace, but the approaching horde of zombies is about to destroy that. Faced with the decision of fight or flight, the crew argues and splits up. You'll notice that the gameplay is of Buried right now. Technically, in this timeline, Buried would be about happening, and that's when things would ultimately change before Origins is born into existence. When Max's emergency security measures are activated, will it be every man for himself? I recently made a video of the Moon Buried Easter egg paradox that's going on during this time, so if you missed that video, I'll have it linked in the description box below, but it definitely plays a role here if Buried is in fact a pinnacle point in the zombie storyline now. Since the comic is playing such a key role in our new Black Ops 3 storyline, I don't think it's out of the question that a DLC 5 would cover this type of information. When Max's emergency security measures are activated, will it be every man for themselves? So our transit crew is living something that Moon did not cover, so Moon is not going to be happening, and if it's remastered, I think it will happen through the paradox that I talked about in that other video. Otherwise, it will not happen, and that loading screen will become true that we once saw. So moving on to issue number 5, the transit crew finds themselves in an unfamiliar location, scattered and disoriented, as they face a new type of enemy. It becomes clearer than ever that they will need each other to survive. Stuhlinger and Russman aren't used to having teammates, but Misty and Marlton will have to convince them to band together if they all want to make it. So it seems like the group's having some inner struggles. Hopefully they get over it by the time we get a synopsis for issue number 6. So now we have to ask ourselves the question, where does the comic fit in the entire storyline, and where does it happen actually? So Origins happens first, and then we have Shadows of Evil, but in between that time we have the Zombies comic, and that's where Richthofen gets the Chronorium and changes things as we move into Shadows of Evil. And this is the proof behind it. On Origins we have this map, and that exact map is in Shadows of Evil. But in between we have this comic, and that's where things can change in the Black Ops 2 storyline. And this is where Black Ops 3 Richthofen can potentially show some new storyline information hinting at DLC 5. So on the way throughout this season pass, as it ended in Revelations and we move forward into the comic, it'll eventually reveal the 6th comic, which is the last comic, and hopefully we can get some Mob of the Dead information or a hint as to what's coming next. I think it's going to be DLC 5, and we're going to have a new set of maps where we break the cycle. I know a lot of you guys are commenting down below on if we're going to break the cycle, and I think in DLC 5 that's where it'll happen, and this will be the link where the comic fits in for that to be possible. So I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention. I know a lot of you guys might have been confused on where the comic is changing things within our Black Ops 3 storyline, so I hope this video can help. As far as I know, we have one more content drop, excluding different events that might happen like Easter and July 4th. Leading into the next title, we may have a DLC 5 on our hands, fellas. We have the Revelations ending cutscene. All the hype for that was quickly died out, but I think Treyarch has a chance to redeem themselves, and if I can leave you with one last thing of everything you've learned in this video, it would be this. A great knight named Pablo Marines quoted them as, "They will be the first and they will be the last." This is a revolving circle that happens between Revelations and the rest of the storyline. But what can change that is the comic. The comic is a chance to introduce a new storyline that can alter what happened on Origins, which ultimately will change Black Ops 3. I think it's DLC 5, fellas. But you let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Viollent out.